Hello everyone. This is the third video in a series for creating a deck for the current sealed draft tournament. In our last two videos, we kind of went through trying to make a hero deck and a very abortive issue of trying to make a minion deck. My at least personal determination was that the hero side had too many enough cards that are worth points, but not enough supporting cards to make sure that my people lived long enough, whereas the minions had supporting cards, but not enough raw points. Now, if only there was a way that I could merge those two together and create a deck which had points to score and had cards to make sure that my people stayed alive. Well, there is a method to do that, and that's called playing a Fallen Wizard. Fallen wizards are supposed to represent wizards who have gone off the path. Think like Saruman as he was in the books, trying to become an independent power in his own right. Fallen wizards have some strengths and they have some weaknesses. The biggest strength, especially for a format like this where you're not guaranteed enough cards to make your combos really work, is that you have access in a somewhat limited fashion to both minion and hero resources. In addition, you actually also have these special Fallen Wizard only resources with these white borders, usually called stage resources. But that does come with a number of weaknesses. For starters, your character pool is limited to people with minds of 5 or less, and this tournament actually added some extra restrictions so that I can only use, I can either declare myself a hero and never use orcs or trolls, or I can go as a minion and then have to use majority orcs or trolls. The other big weakness that Fallen Wizards have is that, in general, except for the Fallen Wizard cards themselves, things are only worth 1 point for them unless you play, so like for instance, Scroll of Isildur is worth 4 points if you store it. For a Fallen Wizard, it is worth 1 unless I play Legacy of Smiths, which would let my non-rings have full marshalling points. So I basically need to include cards just to get me to the points-wise that a hero player would be at by default. However, you do get a number of the stage cards, and some of them, like this one or the Legacy of Smiths, are for any Fallen Wizards. Some of them are specifically for specific. It's like here, the Glove of Radagast is only for a Fallen Radagast. I got very lucky. I have a lot of Fallen Radagast cards in this setup, so I was thinking of a Fallen Radagast, including some that's unofficially called the Bomb. Each Fallen Wizard has their own specific bomb card, which is basically a permanent event. You'll need at least 12 stage points, at least, there's usually one other major requirement, and they're worth a lot of points and have some sort of major effect. In our case, it's Girdle of Radagast, which gives us 5 points right away, and because it's a Fallen Wizard card like this, we get the full score from it. And it turns the Wizard Haven and all adjacent regions into wildernesses. Now, I'm going to put that in the sideboard right away because it's great and we want to plan around it, but it's also, because it has so many requirements, we want to make sure it comes in a bit later. Now, unfortunately, you need 6 allies and or unique factions. Well, we've only got 3 allies. And I'm going to put them in the sideboard as well. I'll show you guys why in a bit. But I just want to move them. So we'll need 3 factions that are adjacent to the site that we plan on playing this card. Now, I've done a little bit of preparation for this, and with the factions that we have available, we actually only have one. Actually, we might have 2. 1 second, I just want to Hillmanor and Kameth Bryn, that's Rudar. Angmar. Hold on, I want to look at a map. So we might have a second possibility. So if we can't do it, but say we made Weathertop our haven, then we'd have anything adjacent. So we could get the Blue Mountain Dwarves, which is in Numeriader. We have Kameth Bryn, which is Rudar. We could do the Enton Moors, which is Karn Doom, which is for the Stone Trolls. Oh, oops, that's my hero deck. I was looking at that. So we got Hillman, we got the Stone Trolls, we got the Angmarim or the Blue Mountain Dwarves. That would also work. Actually, I think that's a better plan than my original one, which was to do the Men of Dale, Men of Northern Ravanian, Bjornings, and the Grey Mountain Goblins. This way doesn't require us to go into Dragon Country, which is way safer. But I think I'll put those in the sideboard just so I have a backup, in case something goes very wrong. Now, because I also, if you remember from our card draw for the minions, we had a bunch of men factions in and around Mordor. I've removed all those from the deck. As a fallen wizard, generally you can only play minion resources at minion sites. So we'd have to go to the minion version of Enton Moors for this. You play minion characters or resources at minion sites, you play heroes at hero sites, and while you can pick and choose if you're going to a ruins and lairs, otherwise you have to go to a hero unless you're an overt company, i.e. with orcs or trolls. Since we can't do orcs or trolls, that means we're very restricted as to where we can play minion resources. I'm also going to get rid of the Iron Hill Dwarves. We can't score very high for our factions, so there's just not a whole lot of reason to take that kind of risk. So we've got 4 factions that can help us. Might want to cut down on the Riders Row and the Tower Guard, but we do have people who help us play them, so I'm not going to delete them just yet. Palantir of Osgiliath at best is going into the sideboard, because again, we'd have to go to a greater item spot in a minion, minion setup, which is dangerous. It's only worth 3 points tops, and we'd have to play a bunch of cards for something that's useless. But I think I will hang on to the Scroll of Isildur just to, it's worth a lot of points. I got rid of the rings because they're crap. Just three cards to play something that's only worth 1 point is just not worth it. But I think I will keep the major items. We have a number of places in and around Ariada we can go to relatively safely to play them, and a lot of them are ruins and lairs, so it shouldn't be too hard to switch to hero or minion as needed. Not sure about what our starting minor items should be. Elven Cloak is good, Blazing the Eye is good, Foul Smelling Paste is good. Anything that's a horde item is useless, so I'll get rid of those. Useless, 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 useless. Maybe useless. But, I'm only going to have 2 minor items to start with and ditch the rest. We will need stage, because again, we get to start with 3 stage resources. three, and I know which ones I want to start with. Wizard's Myrmidon will let us have a character cost only 3 points of influence instead of, probably Astronac's the obvious choice for that because he's got a 5 mind, so that would immediately save us 2 general influence and give him an extra direct influence. If we give him the Blazon at the start, now he's +5 against factions, which is real good. And I want the Glove of Radagast because this is I call them quasi items. You play it on your, it's a permanent event. You actually just play it. When it goes to when you get your Fallen Wizard out, it attaches to him. Any non-unique ally with 1 mind, a copy of which he does not already control, is considered playable with Radagast at whatever site he happens to be. And if you will notice, all 3 of the allies we've got are 1 mind non-unique allies. So we just, at some point, we play this at the start of the game. It just hovers in the ether until we play Radagast. We play Radagast at Roscoble. His first turn, he taps to put our allies into the discard pile, and the next turn he just keeps playing them. And that will very easily and safely get us 3 of our necessary 6 allies plus factions to be able to play the Girdle. And it gives Radagast some cover. Okay, we don't need this. We definitely will want to have stage cards, even if it's like Bad Company here. It lets us play Orcs and Trolls, which would be much more useful if we were doing a minion-style deck. But right now, we might still want it just to get us up to 12 stage points. This might be useful too, so I'll hang on to that. This is not useful. I'm probably going to do the same, broadly the same hazard setup as the hero deck. Oh, I did make one little change. After experimenting a bit with how much this deck needs to move, I got rid of the roadblock hazard, the foul fumes, and the fell winter, long winter, whatever it's called, and I added 2 more Thunder's Companions, which will work with the rank upon rank, assuming Doors of Night stays in play anyway. Okay, this is probably going to be useful. Okay, Guarded Haven belongs in the sideboard because I'll show, because we need hidden haven. We need to make the Girdle around a haven. That means we need a haven. So this lets us turn a Ruins and Lairs into this Wizard Haven. So the plan is, at this point, we play it on Weathertop. That's adjacent to, it's Ruins and Lairs, it's adjacent to all the necessary factions. And it means we'll have to park someone there. Denethor is the obvious choice, but you might be whoever's available at the moment. Now, Guarded Haven is something that we play afterwards. That turns it into a Protected Haven, which has certain effects. And it makes us moving, especially since we play, a lot of the resources we're likely to play are in and around that area, so it'll make moving safer. And then we can play the Girdle of Radagast. So I'm envisioning Radagast not being too active. He's probably going to be sticking around in a haven for a lot of the game and collecting allies and manipulating the sideboard to make this all work. But that's okay because it keeps him safe. If Radagast dies, Fallen Wizard decks tend to be much more centered around their avatar than most decks. I mean, it's bad at any point to get your Wizard, Ringwraith, Balrog killed, but for a Fallen Wizard, it's basically game over. We want this to give not full, but, most of the points to our factions. Don't need this. We do need that. We don't need this. We want only one of these. And it might go into the sideboard, because we can't play this until we have at least 6 stage points. So we actually can't use this. I don't think we can, but cards that boost, give miscellaneous stuff like that don't work. This is a useful card. Again, it works similar to the glove. And we can play Crept Along Cleverly, so this would let us recycle it, which might be very, very useful. Don't want this. We might want that. Don't want this. Don't have leaders. We'll only need one of these, so I'm probably not going to use the Hobbit. I don't think I want this. I want that. No. Probably not. But maybe in the sideboard. Because if we have Spells Born of Discord, that would give us, we could use Sorcery, Spirit Magic, and Shadow Magic, which, although the corruption checks are pretty nasty. Don't want to escape. Not going to Free Domains. Don't really need Farsight. Don't need this. Don't need that. Probably don't need that. Definitely don't need this. No. No. No, no. Probably not. No, no. We are going to go to a lot of ruins and lairs, so that might be useful. Again, put this in the sideboard, but I'm probably not going to use it. I'm probably going to get it out of the sideboard. This is a better version of horses. Stealth, probably not. I don't think we don't have too many scouts in our setup, and the ones that we do are kind of crap. It's just hard to do a stealth deck in this format. I'll put it in the sideboard, actually. If Radagast is a scout... Oh, but of course, if Radagast taps, then he probably won't be able to play anything. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now and delete it. Probably. Way too much corruption. Probably not, but again, that might be useful, so I'll put it in the sideboard. And these two will go in the sideboard as well. Still have a bunch of cards to get rid of. So, thinking the Riders of Rohan and the Tower. I know we have people who are good at claiming these factions, but it's kind of geographically out of the way, and they don't help us play the Girdle, and we can't even get the full point value of the Riders of Rohan. Oh yeah. I definitely want Blazon of the Eye, because we need to get these factions to play our bomb. To me, the real two are whether we want to do the foul-smelling paste or the Elven Cloak. But if we're going to be mostly in and around Ariada, I actually do think the Elven Cloak. A lot of things that are likely to attack us will probably be key to wildernesses. So put Delver's Harvest in the sideboard. Doesn't give us any stage points, and it's only worth 1 point. We can just send someone under the into the Deep Mines to get it. Deep Mines is a weird site, so you can put it in a protected wizard haven. It's basically an underdeep site attached to a protected wizard haven, and it gives you stage points if you're there. So if we're trying to get from 6 to 12, it can be very useful. It needs to be more than 6 points, or at least 6. That's more than 6, so. But like, we need more than, so I think A Merrier World is going to go live in the sideboard too. Things that just, you know, have too high of a so we start with 3. We can play these, so I'm going to get rid of Bad Company. I think we got enough, because this could go bring us up to 6, 7 pretty fast, and that's before we start. Tap it. I'm gonna keep Gatherer of Loyalties in the main deck just because need more than 3 stage points. We've got a bunch of things that can do that, including just Radagast popping up in Roscoble, or any other character for that matter. I'm also Fallen Wizards use the Ringwraith style rules for playing agents as characters. So we have Iyun, we have Zhuoma, and we have Wofeng. They can all be played as characters, but they can also be played as agents. So I'm probably going to include some agents hazards, because, hey, we got them. Still need to get rid of 6 cards, huh? I'll get rid of the horses, I'll get rid of the steeds. Get rid of this. It's always that last few cards that are so hard to figure out what to do without. Maybe we should, because we just don't have that many characters that are worth playing, but 2 of them are our agents, who are a bit harder to play than normal, so I would like to keep that, but I do think it's probably the weakest of the remaining ones. So we'll get rid of a chance meeting. We'll get rid of muster in the sideboard. Only 1 more. We'll put one of the Voices of Malice in the sideboard. It is a bit chancy, for lack of a better term. Did I get rid of... We only have 1 Sage in this deck, and Denethor is somewhat fragile. So I do worry about just, if he gets killed, we have a problem. I'm going to copy paste but I'm going to make some tweaks to this, because where is the card pile? We have a couple of cards that boost our boost our agents, and we should at least consider them. So great need or purpose ×2. I thought I had, yeah, I just forgot to include it in this deck. Put those in the, it's actually 14. I can't have 14. There we go. Do that for the no, that's a bit better. So back to this might be useful for a. It also contains a wizard or a. Because Radagast isn't going to move all that much. We don't have any characters with minds of 6 or more. Let's at least provisionally include it. I don't think that, I mean, this is an agent booster, but I don't think it's that good of one. It lets us take a kept prisoner instead of just wounding someone. Okay, so great need or purpose makes our agents move faster, is the main thing. I just want to look over my. So we do have one scout. Cunning foes lets you do a pretty nasty attack during the movement hazard phase. And Sudden Fury is with things. We only have one scout agent, so I don't think that's worthwhile. I also don't think this is worthwhile either. And if they don't enter the site, it's not that. Honestly, I'm not sure. Especially since I might wind up playing these people as characters, not as agents. It just seems a bit foolish to. But I do think the ambusher is probably not needed. Oh yeah, and Eyes of the Shadow was the other one that I added. I do think that's good for this deck. I do want to leave. Probably get rid of another creature. We'll knock it down to 2 Thunder's Companions. And then what did I have in the sideboard, hazard-wise? Quite a lot, actually. Now, we're not going to be able to have as many hazards in the sideboard here, but definitely want the Will of the Ring and Siege in the sideboard. How big is our sideboard? 23, so we can add another 7. Probably want a few more men. Oh, we want the 2 Muster Dispersers. You know, I can just copy it from here. If I can find it anyway. Put the Slip Treachery and the Brigands in. And we'll put the Ulukai in, you know, just in case they hang out in Dark Domain areas. And I think we have a deck, and I think it's a very strong deck, actually. I'm going to do a few tweaks because I'm crazy about, you know, which... Oh, we have to do characters. But while I'm here, I want to... Yes, it's very important. Go. And we need characters. So we definitely want to start with Denethor and Asternak. Denethor is our only sage, so necessary to play Voices of Malice. And Asternak is our only 5-mind character, so is the natural choice for being Radagast's Myrmidon. Now, despite the fact that Radagast has 22 general influence, we actually don't get that until he enters play for some strange reason. So we have to be a little careful, although Wizard's Myrmidon will immediately knock 2 points off. We also want Nevito Smode. He's our only ranger. At least I think he's our only ranger, besides the big guy himself. Oh, well, Zhuoma. Zhuoma's a ranger, but we can't start with him. He's an agent. Probably don't want Robin. Probably don't want Bomber. Probably don't want Mablung. They're just too weak and have no real purpose. Adversar could be a decent backup faction guy. He also can follow our Myrmidon, which might be useful. 4, 8, 13. Maybe Jarek. Oh, whoops, we have him. I want to search for Jarek. Intended starting party would then be Asternak, Denethor, Jarek, Nevito, and Baragond. That's 5, 7, plus 12, 19, which fits. The Wizard's Myrmidon will knock 2 points off of influence, and Baragond can follow either Denethor or Asternak as needed, which leaves the other one to influence factions. Adrazar is a backup. They should be taken out of the character pool. Yeah, they should be taken out of the character list if they're in. I will put Bard in as another backup, although he's kind of awful. And Erkenbrand is actually, yeah, may as well. So another 5 characters in addition to the 5 that we'll start with. Yeah, that works perfectly. I think we've got a very strong deck here, actually, for the format. Anyway, hope you found this educational and entertaining, and with any luck, my opponents will give me leave to record the game, so you'll see how this works in practice.